that we know, this text that you're looking at again right now is an actual 4th century product. I move now to Old English because in a certain sense it's the, might be said to be sort of the second oldest Germanic language, in that it has a start date generally given about the year 450 in the mid-5th century. Not that we have any texts from that period per se, but it's at that point that the language migrated to England from the continent, separated from the sort of continental stock of Proto-Germanic, and began a separate development on the island. And it's really from the about the year 700, so in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th centuries, that Old English is a flourishing literary language. And I could have chosen a lot of other texts, but as I said, I chose this one for comparative and contrastive purposes. How would you know that this is Old English? If you were just to look at this, I think you might remember from all the series that we've done, this looks a lot like Icelandic more than any other language that we've looked at. But if you do a closer examination, what might you see? It's got all the same character set as Icelandic for the most part, but in the first place, you would find that whereas in Icelandic the thorn and the eth are determined by position, here you can find the thorn in final position and the eth in initial position, and that's just not something you would find in Icelandic. Likewise, Icelandic marks the long vowels with an acute accent, whereas in Old English they're marked with a macron from Latin. So that's how you would distinguish this from Icelandic. Now, what might this have sounded like? Again, with all this older languages, nobody knows because we don't have any recordings, but you can do some intelligent guesswork based on comparative phonology and internal evidence. One thing about these older languages, to the extent that they were not standardized, people really wrote as they spoke, so you can look for what's called internal consistency, but in the end it's always just an intelligent, educated guess. I have no idea what this might really have sounded like, but from reading phonetic introductions and just having a feel for older Germanic languages, I will read it for you like this. Sothliche summon hefta tveichen sunna. Tha kveith se yngre to his feder. Feder, seleme mine del minre echte, fe med tåg budet. Ta dele he him his